I wanted to talk to you about, you have a nonprofit organization, right? Also geared
Yes.
towards helping childhood obesity. I really want to hear about that. I think that's an important mission, and I'd love to know more about what, why you started it and what's happening with it today.
Of course. So about 14, 15 years ago, I was, I landed this incredible endorsement with Nestle to represent all the Hispanic brands in the US. That led me to do tons of television, and I will visit all the festivals in the country, like Calle Ocho, Fiesta Broadway, the Puerto Rican parade, everything that you can imagine from New York, LA, Miami. And one of the things that I noticed when I was doing this huge presentation in front of thousands of people is the bullying of kids to another kids when they were overweight. But it was like mean. And I'm like, wow, this is and then I start paying more attention, and then I saw, wow, this is incredible that 95% of the kids that I see are overweight. So this is something that we need to pay attention to, and I created Big Chef Little Chef. You have to give back. It's the only way that I see. And who better than to the next generation of chefs and people that are going to be making their food, that are going to be, raising other kids. So how can I impact in a positive way the way that they eat and that they cook? And I noticed, actually, with my nephew at the time, he was like 4 or 5, very picky eater. And my brother and my sister-in-law would tell me, Lorena, what can I do for this kid to eat? He doesn't want to eat anything, right? Just, rice and that's it.
If you can't do it, I don't know who can do it. So
yeah. And so what I did one day, I took my nephew, put him in the kitchen with me, and I remember that I was making couscous, and I made him like pick the veggies and the peppers and, cut them with his fingers and smelling it. And when we sat down after, that experience in the kitchen, the kid, my nephew, Carlos, ate everything. So my brother and my sister-in-law are looking at me like, what did you do? Of course, for him at 6, this is what he made. So he presented it on the table. He served to everybody as much as he could, and he ate it. And it was the first time that he was eating this type of food with colors and, and the peppers and the cilantro. And that sparked my idea of Big Chef Little Chef. Let me go into the schools. And today, moving forward, we have done so much with Big Chef Little Chef in terms of adopting low-income school. And what we do, we go in, we teach the children, and we invite their parents. The children cook with me. I give them a class in cooking the food that they love, but in a healthier way. Let's say if they want chicken fingers with ketchup, we make the chicken fingers and we make our natural ketchup, full of nutrients, understanding the difference in ingredients, what they like, what they don't like, even how to store food in the fridge. And, along the way, I have, organizations like Whole Foods and wonderful markets and farms locally that they, send ingredients, they send back for the families. And then the parents come in once we're done, and we all eat together. So again, the parents can see, look what your kids are making, and they're eating it actually, right? So it's not, we're trying to project that it's not really, you need to have money to eat with integrity and eat good food. I think it's a matter of what the choices you make and the education that you have, in order to what is it that you present in your table. And not necessarily, we all are busy, we all have time, but there are always tips and ways to do things that you can actually, make better decisions when it comes to eating and creating awareness. So as much, and that is something that I have seen throughout the years, is that I see, and even in America's restaurants, I remember once having a focus group, and the kids knew what they were eating. They were asking questions, right? The 7, 8, 9, 10 years old, they're like, I'm curious. I did also a show, Food Hunters, in which it was a cooking competition for kids in Nickelodeon, and it was very successful because the first part of the show was gathering the ingredients, and they will go through challenges and tests of answering questions about where the tomato comes from. Is it Mexican or is it Italian? Then you have to go and pick the tomato that I'm asking you between 5 different styles of tomatoes. And then you have to take that tomato, bring it to the kitchen and cook with it. So we were able to educate through doing this cooking competition. And that's when I realized things are changing. Kids are understanding what they should eat, what is healthy, what is not, and where the food comes from. And I think that is a huge advance. And now this generation growing and being more open to cooking and not just buying fast food.
Yeah, it's not part of it's not part of their typical education. And it really should
Correct.
be something that they learn about, from a young age, not just,
Exactly.
within what they have at a meal with their parents. So that's great.
Exactly. So that's the idea.
I think that's amazing. I love it. One thing I want to ask you about, because obviously every business has gone through this, how did you manage your restaurant business during the height of the pandemic? What did you and, your teams have to deal with in terms of your restaurants, and, how did you get through that?
Very difficult times. Let me tell you, in the same week, all my restaurants went dark. It was very scary time, all my restaurants, businesses, all the chicas. We had to close Miami for about almost a year, like about 9 months after just being open for 3 months. Las Vegas as well, we were closed for a few months. Then we were able to open at 25%, which is, impossible to sustain. But, that's how we did it. We were able to concentrate our entire team in one spot. Thank God for John that, had also other locations. He was able to kind of keep the core team, and we just kind of help each other with the sister companies. But it was scary. In Miami, again, we had to close. I had to close all my restaurants in the airport, and it was a very scary moment. In my case, I just pivot and try to reinvent myself. Another side of the business open up, which is all the virtual classes or social media content that I never had the time to do it. I was able to focus on that. And I think that kept me sane through all those months, to be completely honest. And today it's a completely new business that I have. My social media channels are producing, monetizing when it comes to the Zoom classes and conferences via what we're doing right now, which we have never thought that we could do this. I'm a collaborator for the culinary department at Despierta América and Univision, and being able to do my segments remotely, that is something that we thought that we could do. So everything kind of transformed. So of course, the time with my family, I could not, I don't think that I could have dreamed of a better time. So in some sense, I think it was a blessing, because allowed me to connect with my family in a way that I don't want to let that go. You know what I mean?
I know.
Moving forward, I'm going to mix the two, because it's something that I was really able to connect. When you're traveling, you're so much into this career. It's very consuming, and family sometimes is something that you have to sacrifice. So, it was a wake-up call. It was very difficult. We were able to push through. I think that we're in the best country in the world, in which, the help of the government also helped a lot in terms of all the sources that we had in order to keep our employees and continue to, just come up, and instead of saying, oh my God, I'm dying, is what can I do right now? This is the thing. What can we do right now? What do we need to do to move forward? What do we need to do to stay afloat? And that's what we did. And it happened. And then the day that, everything opened up, doing it with caution and, training again. And it was like almost starting from zero, but with having the time of correcting all those little things that we needed to correct from the beginning. So I always say that through the most difficult times, you can see that it's a blessing, and definitely was.
Yeah, you have to find the silver lining in it. That's for sure. But
Absolutely.
There were definitely some things, like you said, being able to spend time with family and kind of reshifting priorities a little bit. We never stopped. We just kept going on the wheel, and we had to stop. And then
correct.
You're like, so
totally, yeah.
So
and by the way, let me go back. Also, I'm sorry, I want to go back to your question of Big Chef Little Chef. So where we are right now, I have about 6,000 students in Aventura. I have about 600 students in a school near where I live in Miami Beach. And what I do is I go twice in the quarter and, give them classes. We go to the garden, and we created a garden in the beautiful park that they have. And, and then they know how the cilantro smell, and the parsley and the peppers and the tomatoes. So that's where we are at this point with Big Chef Little Chef. I just wanted to update you.
No, I think it's great. And like you're saying, there's so much that kids don't realize. Once you get them outside and they're tasting herbs and smelling, you don't realize that a plant can do that, right? It's like it's magical almost. So
I remember this question. It was one of my classes in the elementary school, and I asked, okay, I'm going to ask you, please raise your hands. What is your favorite ingredient when you open the fridge? And a kid say, my favorite ingredient is rice, bean, a steak. So he just put everything on. I was just laughing. Arroz, frijoles,
That's great.
carne, pollo. I thought he was gonna say like strawberries or chocolate. Oh, it was so funny. So things that you live with through the kids that are so much fun. Yeah.
So you have like a million things going on. What do you see for the future for you, for your brand, your restaurants? Like what do you think like will be in the next 5 years? Like what could you see happening?
Absolutely. Well, I'm working on my third book, which is it's a project that I've been wanting to do for many years, and finally I'm rebranding my third book, and it's going to be amazing. It's about the utilization of open fire throughout Latin America and those techniques, how we can apply them here in the States. So that keeps me super excited. Chica, of course, the plan is to continue to open every year more locations throughout the States and abroad, which keeps me super excited. Doña Rosario Latin Delight, my brand, the honor to my grandmother Rosario, which is available at Walmart, and it will continue to grow. And by the first quarter of next year, we're going to be in over 1,200 stores. So it's continue from 30 in test market to 500 right now to 1,200 in the first quarter of next year, and being able to bring the flavors of the recipes that I grew up with from my grandmother, and being able to bring those recipes in the best possible way, which is, I think, frozen. I found out that it is the best way to preserve the meals. And when you bring them at home, you can either saute in your pan or put it in the oven, and it's just delicious and in an affordable way to everybody that can enjoy them. So that is a project that I'm extremely passionate about. And, a lot of television, I cannot say much, but 2022 is going to be a great time for people that say, Chef, when am I going to see you again? They see me in Despierta America sometimes in the morning, but I receive tons of requests. And that is something that is exploring in 2022, which I'm very excited about. So because I cannot say anything, but I can tell you that you're going to be able to turn the TV and a couple of different,
about
3 different channels. You can see my face and cooking and doing what I do, and tons of fun. Yes, I think that this year, about this time, everything is kind of activating. Because of COVID, everything went dark in terms of productions, and that is something that I'm very, very attached to. I produce 2 of the shows that I am in and I host. So yeah, it's taking legs, and we're in the process right now of pre-producing all these projects. So again, for 2022 is when everything's going to come to light, and keeps me super excited.
How exciting. That's amazing. Yeah. I can't wait to see all of it. So
thank you.
One more thing I want to ask you, because I know that our Latin Biz Today audience is going to want to ask, what is a favorite recipe of yours, and would you be able to share it with us? Because I would love to have one of your favorite all-time recipes that we could share with our community on our website.
I have so many recipes, and I always say, it is almost like asking a parent that has 10 kids, which one do you more, right? It is difficult because each one is different. It depends on the personality. It depends of how are you feeling that day, right? So one thing that I always call is my arepa basket. The first thing that hits the table at Chica, the arepas for me is like my bread, right? It's what I grew up with. And it is so simple to make. It's pre-cooked corn flour, a little bit of water, a little bit of olive oil if you want. If you don't have to add it, a little bit of salt, and equal parts water and flour, and then you just mix it, and you create this patty. It's almost like a tortilla, but a little bit thicker, and you cook it in the plancha exactly the same way as you will cook a tortilla. They, puff. It's almost like a gordita, if you will, but it's with good corn flour, so it is different like the maseca that probably you use in the tortilla. So it has a little bit more of a sweeter corn taste. It's not as raw as the tortilla will be, and you can fry it, steam it, sear it, bake it, do anything you want with it. Instead of water, you can add cheese, you can do different fresh vegetable juices and create your own flavor, like I do in Chica, that I have black beans, I have beets, I have cheese, I have cilantro, I have all these beautiful arepitas. And again, you can fill them up with the a beautiful chicken salad, or you can have it for breakfast with eggs, or you can eat it at night with a beautiful, I don't know, chicken steak or a little salad. Again, you can use it as your bread. You can stuff it. You can just have it as a snack. So that is something that I absolutely love, that calls to my Venezuelan roots, the way growing up. And I always try to serve it, in an up there scale way, like I do a chica, right? It's more gourmet, but it's a little the way that I grew up in the basket.
I love it. Okay, that's great. I think that's a good one because that's a very versatile thing, like you said, that you can do anything with. So I think that they would love to hear that. So perfect.
And about making recipes that are simple but make it perfect, right? I rather give you 3 ingredients so you can really make it absolutely perfect, and not give you a recipe that it is so difficult that you can get lost and then you're not successful. Encourage you to continue to cook. But if I give you something simple and you make it just right, you're just gonna wanna cook.
Yeah. Well, I think I covered all the questions I wanted to ask you. Is there anything you want to talk about, anything that you're working on, or any initiative or anything that you want to share that is important, that you feel like we should tell Latin Biz Today about it?
Yeah, well, that I think that the way that I see Latin's Heritage Month, we celebrate it every day of the year. I'm just happy and glad that we have a time to really highlight our culture. What can I tell you? That there's so many things that, I always think that food, in the way that we present it, us as chef, we're responsible for the way that we feed people. And I think that everybody deserves a good an integral plate of food, right? And no matter where you are, no matter what your socio-economical situation is, just try to make the right decisions. And that is something that I will try to continue to do, to represent my culture and Latinos in this country the best of my abilities, and continue to fulfill your dreams. Try to what my advice will be also to the people that want to incur in this career, or they want to sometimes dream about being a chef, or sometimes people ask me, chef, I want to do what you do. Prepare yourself. You gotta be prepared. You have to study. You have to know what you're doing. And simplify, focus, and execute. I always say that because when you simplify an idea, it's easy to execute it and focus on it. And then you just grow it like a baby. So that is something that I always like to leave that message to people that come to this country, that don't speak the language sometimes, but with preparation, I think that you can conquer all. This is the country of opportunities, and I'm a sample of it. And of course, remember that, if anybody that is in the area of Colorado, ask and come and join us in Chica by November. We're super excited, and I'll be there cooking up a storm.
Oh my God, I seriously want to go and visit it. So maybe it'll be on my winter list to get there for some skiing. We haven't done any, with the pandemic and everything, but my husband and I are avid snowboarders actually. So
that's wonderful.
Yeah, so maybe we'll try and get out there and visit. That would be amazing. So
absolutely. And let me tell you, we're going to be open the entire year. So spring and summer, I just went there the day before yesterday. Amazing summer. I mean, it is incredible because you have the hiking and you have all these amazing things that you can do there. The weather is beautiful. So I enjoy myself thoroughly. So the fact that we're going to be able to be open all year round, for me, it's really exciting.
Oh, yeah. It's going to be a destination place. People are going to want to go there for that. So that's awesome.
Wonderful.
Well, I'm so happy you gave me some time today. I really appreciate it. I know you are so busy. And like I said, when Abby told me that, maybe she could connect us, I was thrilled. So this this made my day. So.
Oh, no, please. I'm super excited and happy and thankful for your time, for your interview. I had a great time. Thank you. It was very engaging. I love it when these interviews go like this. You ask actually interesting questions and you were engaged with me. So I appreciate that.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you so much, Chef Lorena. It was such a pleasure. You have a fabulous day.
Likewise. Take care.
All right. Bye.